president or VP had sent out emails, perhaps send out emails from the area governor if you wish. Check and see if they need help with the whole education program. Maybe the club's executive is not clear on the fact that Toastmasters is an educational organization, and that there are some things that can be done to help that. Certainly, making sure, and one thing that we've seen is that making sure that new members have their stuff. Make sure new members have their manuals, and that they understand what the manuals are for. And really, just try to lay out a good guide for all of the members. Make sure that they know that there is a structure and a process in place.
All right, thank you. What's the other group that has the same case study? Do you have anything to add? Division D?
Yeah, this was really exciting for us. Some of the ideas that we had was designing a speech on site and then give it to the speaker. So each person in the club would build on how to do a speech, and then the speaker would present that speech.
Well, what happened is that as a group, we would design a speech with the speaker, and we obviously had a willing volunteer, and at the end, the speaker presented the speech and we did an awesome job. So that makes sense.
And another area we thought would be really good to get us interconnecting with one another was to develop a speaker's tour. So a speaker would go to one club and then have other people sign up if they want to join different clubs or go to different clubs and present a speech, and to try and get the different club members to come along on this tour. So you could go maybe every once a month or every 2 months. But it gets the different people in the clubs kind of involved to speak. Another one idea was a brown bag where everyone would do a manual speech. They would pull something out of the bag and encourage them to do a speech on that. And as an area government, you can do things yourself to talk about how Toastmasters helps you and encourage them to speak as well. And those are some of the ideas that we had.
Great. Anything more? Mike, you have something to add?
Can I very quickly add to that? I saw some bewilderment about how to write a speech on the spot. A speech is simply an introduction, a conclusion, and 3 points. 30-second introduction, 30-second conclusion, and 3 table topics adds up to 7 minutes. What I suggest you do when you come to that club is say, right, I'm going to give you a speech off the cuff using a system, which you just heard. That's going to be my speech. It's going to be evaluated. Then we're going to take 5 minutes for all of you to write a speech. Then we're going to draw out of a hat who's going to give their speech straight away. Now you only need 5 minutes. 1 minute to decide what the topic is. 1 minute to decide what the introduction is going to be. 1 minute to decide what the conclusion is going to be. 1 minute to write out the 3 table topics you're going to address. And 1 minute to sit back and go, I'm ready for this. So then you now have a club where every member has a speech. And you now say, okay, those of you who didn't draw your name out of a hat, you are not allowed to look at that thing again until next week when you're going to give that speech. And you've now got speeches set up for the next 5 meetings.
Thank you, Mike. Great. Okay, now I'm going to ask each group to share with us the best 2 tips too, okay? So let's hear from this group. Can you share with us what your case study is?
Yes, our case number 4, a club in your area does not believe that DCP is relevant and refuses to participate in the program. What could you do to change their mindset?
2 tips.
2 tips. One, for them as a Toastmaster or as a member. The other one for them as an officer of the club. It could be VP Education or the president. For the member, you come to the club to practice your speaking skills or your leadership skills. The club has to be strong. How would you know if the club is strong unless you have some kind of barometer to measure that? To have that barometer or scoring guide, you need to believe and work on DCP. The other one for the officer, who could be VP Education or the president. When you join club, you don't only join to learn how to speak. You also want to learn how to be a good leader. If you don't have a sense of accomplishment, how would you become a better leader? To know whether you accomplished anything or not, you have to have DCP program.
Great. What's the other group that has the same casework? 2 points to share with us, please.
Only 2? We would bring it back to the beginning. Why did you join Toastmasters in terms of their goals, what they wanted, and then asking them how they know that they're achieving that, and showing them how measuring that achievement will help them feel that sense of satisfaction from achieving a goal. Second one, once you build a relationship with them, you can ask them to help you do a better job in your role by participating in the program. And maybe one more, you can demonstrate what you're asking them to do by giving speeches yourself, using the CC manual, showing them that you're in your area governor role, you are also participating in that program.
Thank you.
Demonstrate by example.
Anyone has anything else to add? Great. Thank you. Now, a lot of times, some clubs find it demotivating when it's just about points. And how we communicate with them sometimes is, it's not just about points. When you do the DCP, it means we are delivering true Toastmasters programs. And the points just come along. And then, you know, the clubs who don't quite believe in DCP, and they said, oh, well, we have open house, you know, we encourage members to do our menu speeches, you know, people are doing well, and we actually, you know, accomplished all the points, like 5 or 6, 7 points in the DCP. They are actually doing the DCP, but they just don't want to get caught up with the points. But in the end, we're all delivering the good Toastmasters program. Okay, let's hear from this table. What case study you have? And 2 points?
Okay. Our case study is the corporate clubs in your area aren't interested in activities outside the club, including training and contests. How do you encourage them to participate? Now, we had one thing that was brought in, the danger. Perhaps the members were forced to join as a result of it's on their performance review. So you may have that as the one thing that's in place. So what we decided that changing the perception of the individual members was key. And to explain what contests and officer training offers to the members. Now, for instance, in leadership, we figure that they may have questions that need answered, and also they're going to be meeting other peers from other clubs, so they will get more information. And knowledge on leadership skills and information is key, and anytime you get information, that's going to be wonderful. But also, too, as a leader, you will develop your presentation skills by the questions you get answered, so you come across better, and it gives you confidence. As far as the contest, that's a really hard one because maybe they just want to do presentations at the office. So you have to change that perception as well. And what you get with that is they get to grow personally and outside of their comfort zone. So if they go into a contest in their club, they start to build confidence. When they go to the next area, they build more confidence. And what they get out of this is polishing their presentation skills so that they become a better presenter, which will be recognized at the corporate level when they start holding meetings.
Great, terrific. And which is the other division who has the same case study? 2 points to share?
So Division H and Division J apparently think almost exactly alike when it comes to giving points for corporate clubs. But we do have one to add, is to remind your corporate clubs that Toastmasters, because it's an international organization, is a great way to network. It's a wonderful opportunity to get out there, to meet a diverse group of people in an environment that's safe. We know these people have all the same ideas that we do. They think along the same lines. We can get out there. We're not always going to be at that company. We're not always going to be working in that corporate club, especially if it's just for that one company. You leave that company, suddenly you no longer have a club. Get out there, learn to meet people that are around you, that are part of Toastmasters, and become part of an even bigger family, and you'll always have someone to go to.
Thank you. Let me ask this question. Is anyone from a corporate club here? See? Can you imagine we talk about those corporate clubs? What does that make them feel? So it's us. You know what? Sometimes we have non-corporate clubs like community clubs. They may not want to take part too. So it's not about us versus them. It's us. Yes, Joanne?
I think, I don't belong to a corporate club, but for me, I think anytime I go outside of my club somewhere, I have an aha moment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's that thing where I go somewhere to another club or to a bigger Toastmaster event and I go, oh, this is not just my little box that I operate my Toastmaster club in. There's more, and I can bring something back and enhance my club and make it more exciting.
Okay, can I ask those folks from the corporate clubs to raise their hand again? Okay, look at them, talk to them, ask them how we can better communicate to corporate clubs and work together. Jujila, you have something to add?
Yes, I do. We have a wonderful corporate club in Division B where they do everything. And the thing I've noticed about this is that a lot of it goes down to the mentor. So I suggest when we're mentoring clubs that we foster that feeling of being part of the larger community. And I saw that work amazingly well with Fleur, where Maureen McBeath was the mentor.
Great job. Excellent. Thank you. Two more case work. C, have we come? Okay, please. 2 points to share and tell us what your case is.
Thank you, Rory. Our case study was, you try forming your area council, but most presidents, VPs, and memberships in your area aren't interested to join. What can you do? Point number one we thought was sell them on the benefits to the club and to the executive members. This isn't being done for the area governor or for the district necessarily. This is what's in this for you and how can you go take this back and collaborate with the others. You can help the others grow. You can get your best practices together. And point number two is make it easy to attend the meetings. Stress that someone needs to be there. It doesn't necessarily have to be all three, but make sure somebody is. And then, more importantly, we've got some areas which are large geographically. Allow them to be done by conference call. Those are our 2 ideas.
Thank you, Rob. And in case you wonder what an area council is exactly what he just said earlier. Is you can invite the presidents, VP ads, and VP memberships to join. So what's the other group that has the same one? 2 points, please, to share.
Here are 2 points. They're both related to relationship building. One is similar to your first point. The area governors can go visit the clubs, sell the reasons why it's a benefit to be part of an area council, and what the relationship building between VP of Eds from 4 or 5 clubs can do, or presidents. Sharing that knowledge base between these clubs will help their jobs as they go forward with the year. Also, another thing is build it into the succession planning. One for the club executives and also for the area governors coming in for a new term, so that they know from the past president, this is what's expected of them as a club president. By the way, participating in the area council is a great way to network and find new ideas for new clubs.
Thank you. Great job.
Who here has participated in a banner?
Who would like to do a quick share about what that is and how that helps build connections between clubs?
You're asking Margaret?
Yeah.
I would talk about Rocky Point Toastmasters had a banner made by the North Delta Power Takers, as we call them. We didn't even know what they were doing. They came and we learned about stealing a banner.
Borrowing.
Let me explain the rules. The rules is at least 5 members of that club must be there, and they must attend a regular meeting, not an officer training or something else. What happens is when they borrow your banner, as Elmer said, they take it back to their club. How do you get your banner back? you have to have a minimum of 5 members of yours. What were the benefits? Is North Delta Power Talkers always come to our events, our party events. We have developed a major bond between them. And I think that clubs, when they do this and they do it in a good nature, good fun, they will find that bond will grow immensely.
Excellent, great point.
Just to add on to that, politically speaking, we took it upon ourselves, if you remember. We took 6 or 7 banners in a row. It went out to build our membership. And it was great because we became well known. And it created camaraderie between the clubs.
All right. One more case work, right? Which group hasn't spoken? Yes, please. 2 points and your case, please.
Yes, this is the case 2. Some clubs provide very little information for the completion of the area governor's club visit form. How can you get more information? To start with, we always stress the importance of these forms for them, for their club, not just to TI, the higher level. Then we send the forms ahead of time to the president and a copy to the VP Ed that they can start filling in their information before we come. We also, in advance, and regarding the actual visit of the area governor, we ask in advance of the meeting to be included on the agenda so that they have formalized the fact that we are coming and they are ready for us. Then if they have not completed the forms, if they don't even have a form there, we always bring an extra form. Bring an extra form and see what you can get out of them while you're still there. However, if they don't know the answers, or the president or VP Ed isn't there, then you start. You harass them. Very nice. Don't let up on contacting. You phone, you email, and you again may even make another visit. And eventually, in almost all but one cases, it worked. And there was really only one club anyway that gave us any complications. And that was really due to illness for the top 2 people in the club, that they weren't passing on information. But it worked. For everyone else, for all the others, I'd say that sending the forms ahead of time and booking your speaking time with them when they had to work with it on their agenda made sure that everybody in the club knew that you were coming. And it was the most wonderful experience in the world to be area governor.
Great, thank you. Can anything to add? There's one more group who has the same, right? Yes, 2 points, please, Fred.
Well, we wanted to know if they were buying into the Toastmasters program. And maybe we would attend an executive meeting, if they would allow us, and find maybe the key members of the executive, and encourage them to probably, if they're not buying into the program, give presentations on the Better Club series. Because that does sell them, and let them do those presentations, not us. But that will sell them on the program, and hopefully then they will start buying into the program and we'll get our information.
Excellent, thank you.
Remick, if the club doesn't have that information, my first question would be, do they have a success plan? Have they planned? You know, have they formed that plan? And if they haven't, then it would be, how can you as an area governor help them to put that plan together?
Great, thank you.
Another tip for area governors, there's so much good information on TI's website and the district website. You can download some material, print it off, and take it with you when you go to the club. A friend of mine had created a book called Word Trippers, and so every time I did an area visit, I would take this little gift, which is Word Trippers, which was over 100 words that people trip up on. So it doesn't have to be expensive. There's lots of good content out in the online world. You can download something and it's just a little gift and it helps you build a relationship. There's some area governors that may bring snackies or donuts or something,
but this is another way that doesn't cost you a lot of money, download some good material, especially the one on evaluations that's on our district website right now is a really, really good piece of material for you to take to any club, especially those that are struggling.
All right. Thanks for your input, Margaret. We have two groups of division governors who have been patiently sitting in the back. Let's hear from
Division K? Or here. Okay, so here's the case. Case 1. You haven't heard from one of your area governors for an extended period of time and are unable to reach him by repeated phone calls or emails. So, clubs have been complaining that there is no information on the area contest. What do you do? So we have a whole list here, and we'll try and make it brief. First of all, contact his club and confirm that the contact information we have for them is correct. Find out if there's a health or a death issue. Delegate somebody to arrange for the contest, and that would be with working with your remaining area governors to create a plan for the area contest. If the person's still around, either coach him or find a long-term replacement. Okay.
And with one more.
Our case is your usual venues for holding the division contest or training are not available. How could you find a new venue for your event? Our first suggestion, roll up in the fetal position and cry. Second suggestion, phone Remick, tell her you cannot complete your duties as division, no. Delegate. First thing is go out and ask your area governors, get your area governors, go ask your presidents, members of the club, find out what's available in your division that you're not aware of. And the second thing is you can call colleges, schools, churches, hotels, service organizations, community centers, municipal offices. There's a lot of places that you can hold a contest or do your division training. That's our two suggestions.
Okay, you have great suggestions. Every time we do these case studies, I'm just amazed at, how resourceful you are. You always have something new to add. And just to let you know, all these case studies are real. They happen almost every year or once every second year. And here you are. Sometimes we don't have a perfect solution, but we always come up with answers and work together as a group. Now, we are going to catch up. We're going to hear the sage advice from our past governors. I'm going to invite Mike and Joanne to come up and have a seat. Doug Season, our immediate past governor, he is supposed to join us, but he phoned in and he's really sick today, so he's unable to join us. And we're going to have Tom to take Doug's place instead, and Tom is going to take his seat. So, and I'm going to ask, actually, Margaret to stay here. This is what we're going to do. I know we're a little bit behind. We are going to try to finish at 12:30 so you can have a lunch break. Each one of them is going to give us 5 minutes per person on 5 tips on how you can become successful and how you get started in the first 6 months. So it's focused on the first half of the year. So each person 5 tips, 5 minutes. And Margaret is going to be our scribe. She's going to take down the main points and see in the end if we can summarize, maybe come up with the best 10 tips, 8 tips, so we can all take it home with us. Okay, I'm going to introduce you. You know our current District Governor, Tom Jones, and our past District Governor, Joanne, and last but not least, Mike Robinson, DTM all. So Barry will time them 3, 4, 5, and let's start with Mike Robinson.
Thank you, Rebecca. And just before I start, a good example for every area governor. Who's the newest area governor here in the front rows? Less than 2 years? Perfect. I'm Mike. And would you please evaluate my speech? I'm particularly working on the other. governor-elect and other important people like that in education and training. Like, I was in India a couple of weeks ago and I saw this apple tree, gnarled and twisted and stuff like that, but there were sprouts coming out of it. And there was this little Indian guy looking after that tree and a couple of others. And that was his entire life, looking after those few trees. But those gnarled and twisted apple trees had beautiful fruit on them. This area governors and divisions governors is your life. Those gnarled and twisted apple trees are like the clubs, and you are their gardener. No, it's not like you've got a lawnmower and running around and something that's going to wear out eventually and throw it away. You have been entrusted for the space of 1 year that apple grove, which has got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 apple trees, gnarled and twisted with all their history and all their potential to produce beautiful fruit. So my first tip is simply this: you are the gardener. Treasure those trees and make sure that when you hand them on to next year, those trees are thriving. And yes, they will have produced some fruit. And that fruit is my second tip. A very simple question. If you get to be distinguished, it really helps to know what fruit you're supposed to be producing. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people, in fact I was talking to an area governor 2 weeks ago who didn't know what the rules were to be distinguished. She made 3 phone calls and she's now going to be a distinguished area governor. Up until that stage, she thought she'd blown it. Know the rules and you have an excellent chance of being distinguished. And the reason you're going to be distinguished is because you have built relationships. The way the Toastmaster year works out is this. You have the first 2 months when you are building relationships. That's when you go to them and go to the clubs and say, well, here I am, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. I'm just here to listen and be part of your club and build that relationship. The next 8 months is nurturing that relationship. And that's when you go and say, here I am, what do you need, how can I help you? The last 2 months are about needing the relationships. That's when you go and say, here I am, this is what I need, how can you help me? And the remarkable thing about it is that when you get to that stage, people will do spectacular things because you did 3 things. You showed that you knew what the focus was, you knew and cared about them individually, and you were prepared to work harder than any of them to achieve that. Call it focus, feelings, and time. The 3 requirements of charismatic leaders, and you can all have that. It's nothing special. It's something that you do. The next tip, Stephen Covey, seek first to understand. Do not please go into that first club visit and say, I know the answer, newly minted area governor, yes! Unfortunately, that club has a history. And you may not know that history. You may not know how wonderful and mysterious some of those decisions they are now implementing came about from. And if you don't know that, then your suggestions are going to be caca. So be quiet, listen, and your suggestions when you eventually come up with them are going to be treasured for what they are, for 2 reasons. 1, because you thought about them, and 2, because you've only given them 1 or 2, and you're going to follow up on them. Suggestion number 4. No, that was not distinguished. Suggestion number 5, make the main thing the main thing, and Remick had this on hers, and I love this suggestion. Let me give you one example where the main thing becomes not the main thing. Area contests. Nowhere in the distinguished club, area, district and division plans does it say anything about area contests. This is your opportunity to let other people shine and be the ringmaster. For you, it is the opportunity to nurture, to reward, to encourage, to be the gardener.
Thank you, Mike. And let's hear from Joanne.
5 things to be the gardener that Mike suggests. Know yourself. Know your clubs and the members in them. Plan your money. Visualize what you want and have enthusiasm. First of all, know yourself. And this is something you're going to improve on as the year goes on. You're going to realize that someone like Remick is extremely good at the details and making things happen. I'm good at people stuff. I know that. That's what I do. And so I need Remick. I need someone like Remick. When I was a division governor, I had a Remick on my team as an area governor, and every month she would bring all the figures for all of the clubs with her. Nothing happened in her life unless there was figures attached to them. Some people have to have color attached to them. Know what the people are good at and what you're good at, and as the year goes on and by the end of the year you will have improved. And that's part of your growth. What you do is really important. This is not a throwaway job. You are not getting paid for it. It is not your work, but it makes a big difference in people's lives, in your life. When I planned a wedding, I knew how to do that, like that. It was so easy. I just sat down and made a list because I planned events. Planning your events and managing the money makes a difference in your life and the lives of people. And if you can help them manage their money as they're planning your events for you, you've helped them and you've helped yourself. That comes to the district is not giving you money for your events. Ouch. So how are you going to get the money that you need to do what you want to do, and how are you going to visualize your event so that you can plan it and have it come off and be exciting? Because it can be. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. And you don't want to be in the hole. I think I spent about $35 total in the year if I was division governor. That's all I was out of pocket. You don't have to pay for the event yourself, and you want it to be paid for, and you want it to be a great event. Visualize. You can't visualize unless you know where the clubs are at. So before the year starts, look up online. Where are all of the clubs at now? Make notes. What are your questions about those clubs? How are they doing? Talk to the area governor of the past and the division governor of the past and the district team. Ask questions, find out, and then don't go into the club assuming you know. You don't know. Like Mike said, they have their history and they have their things, and so you have to go with some questions, but don't assume you know. First learn. First learn about the clubs when you talk to them and see them. And again, if you can get into their club executive meetings or make them have club executive meetings if they don't have them, that's ideal. Enthusiasm. This is why I was a success as a division and an area governor. I didn't know any different. I thought, I'm going to be great. So I was. If you're naive and a little bit stupid and you just assume you can do this, you can. If you can visualize it, you can make it happen. You just have to believe that you can make it happen. And sometimes, if you're naive and you don't really have those planning skills, it works out really well. We had 29 clubs and our contests had 150 people at them. That's success in my book. And the same with the training. Because something about those emails that went out made it sound like, oh my gosh, I'd better be there. It's going to be exciting. I don't want to miss that. And after the first and the second event, people came in droves because it was exciting. But I didn't do it all. You get other people to do it, because the more people who are doing things at your event, the bigger the group will be, and the more they'll want somebody to come with them to support them in what they do. It's not about you. Stand at the side, wear your crown, be the leader, introduce people, and let that meeting flow. And that's not going to happen unless you also do the reading. You have to know how to run a contest. You have to know what the rules are. And you get that information and you read it. And you know it. And then you pass it on to somebody else to do. You coach them. That's your job this year, not to do, but to coach. And then you're going to have an exciting, really interesting and fun year. And division governors, you do the same thing. You do the same thing, only now you're working through somebody else and you're helping them do. It's going to be a great year, and it's so exciting to be involved in this side of leadership, and it's going to improve your life and the lives of the people who you touch.
Thank you, Joanne, and we'll hear from Tom.
Thank you. Please start. Show 7 minutes. No, 5 minutes.
How long?
4 minutes. 5 is good. First of all, thank you for all the feedback. We can get into a lot of detail and go into case studies and tell you with specific instances, specific things you should do. Or we can teach you kind of the big picture and give you some ideas and some skills on exactly how to fix things. But number one, I think what is number one is you need to know who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. We are servant leaders. I say that all the time. We're servant leaders, and our job is to help people to solve their problems. I'm not the guy from the East coming in to fix you. I'm here to solve your problem. I'm a servant leader, and there's a great principle involved in that. When you serve others, you are served. Number one. Number two is about relationships, and everyone's talked about relationships, but why is it so important? If I can't relate to you, and if I can't identify with you, I really don't care what you say. You can come in and talk, and I'll just watch your mouth move. Remember this, when you talk to me, I'd like for you to know my name. Use my name. When you go to a club, you don't know anybody. How will you find out who they are? Before you go, check the stats, look at the membership, and you'll know who they are. You'll know who the VP of membership is. You'll know who received an educational award. It's all there. So when you go into a club, you have your little cheat notes because you know who the people are. When you call their name, people love that. Hey, Jamie, how are you? It's an amazing thing. But that's how you develop relationships, because I will work for you if you treat me kind and generous. If you treat me kind. And that's what we need to be doing, treating each other like human beings. Yeah, I'm the district governor, but I work for you guys. Take your ego, check it at the door. Servant leaders. It's not about me. It's about us. Relationships are important. Talk to them, and remember to put principles before these little petty personal issues. Going in with a vendetta, which leads me into number 3, which is do not talk down against your district team. Don't go in talking about the district wants to do this, and oh my God, I don't like that, and we don't want to split the district, we don't want to do this. Because that creates dispersion between us. When you go in, we don't have to always agree on the details, but once a decision is made, we should get in line and make it happen. Don't talk down against, if you have a problem, don't complain to the president of the club about your division governor. You've created a bad situation because they lose respect for you. If you have a problem with the division governor, talk to the division governor. It's real important. Attitude is everything. Your attitude, and I'm watching you. And if your attitude is bad, I don't want to be like you. So you walk into the club with an attitude of it's not important, I'm just here, you know, blah, blah. And guess what? That's what you get back. Your attitude. Be in the position of in the business of being a solution finder. I don't care what the problem is. I know that we can fix it. So we fix it. But that's an attitude that you have to have, because I'm watching you. As a leader, if you get ruffled and panic, guess what? Everyone else panic. I never panic. Just won't do it. And I can be frightened, but I don't, because I know that people are looking to me. 4, be the leader that you want to be, that you want other people to be. You be the leader. You do what you're telling them to do, what you're asking them to do. You should be giving speeches, you be that person. And now I'm watching you and I want to be like that. If you're not doing anything, why should they do anything? Energy is transferable. It is. And when you walk in the room and you have low energy, you suck the life out of the room. I don't hang around with people like that. So don't you be that person. And finally, there is no magic here. There's no magic. There's no secret to how to do this. It's in the book. Read it.
Thank you. Now we're going to open up the floor. We have a few minutes for questions, and maybe we'll save a couple minutes. And if Margaret can, perform her magic and see if she can summarize it for us, so we can go away with the best 6, 8, or 10 tips. And I just want to quickly add, when I invited them to be on the panel, and Mike asked a really good question, how do we know we're not overlapping each other? And I know there's always going to be overlap, because you see, there are 2 or 3 or even 4 points that kept coming up. Why? It's because they are important. We say it over and over again. Stay focused, build relationships, etc. And that's why it keeps coming up. And another thing that Tom mentioned earlier, not just because I'm on the district team, and it sounds like I'm supporting what he said. What I learned from John Noonan, one of our past district governor and actually past international president, what I learned, one of the best lessons I learned from him is executive solidarity. What does that mean? He, as a district governor, is the only person who legally represents the district. He has gone through the rank to be the district governor. It's his chance to make his decision. And I am second in command, and I support him. It doesn't mean I agree with him on everything, but it's my turn to support him. And one of the case study that I didn't get a chance to put in is, sometimes every now and then, you actually have a division team or area team that people don't support each other. And people disagree publicly or privately. And when that happens, I ask you to think about it. When you go out there are always people, club presidents, officers, members, watching us. And I'm not saying that we should be fake and, even we disagree, we're just like, not like that. But it's to demonstrate that we can work through the differences. And that's where leadership and maturity comes in play. And it's a big learning lesson. I'm still learning, and there's lots to learn, and this is what executive solidarity is about. Now, let's open up the floor and see. Give us good questions, not the kind of questions like, where can I find the area governor form website? These are places where people, district governors who have years of experience. Brian, stand up and let us hear you.
Tom, you mentioned that we could get the information about who the clubs that we're representing, their names of who those executives are. Or can we get that information?
You can get that information from the district team. And you guys will, first of all, there's an issue of privacy. But there's an officer list and there's a membership list that will be given out. Remick will hand it out to the division governors, so they'll know everyone in the division, the members in their division. And the area governors, like I said, information is available to you. And the officer list, there's an officer list for every club. So there you have it. When you go in there, you know who they are.
How soon?
July 1st, when all our new positions are effective, it will be sent to the division governors, July 1st, or maybe a few days later, because we make the request. Don't forget, officers list are due June 30th. So when I put in the request to the membership, it takes them a few days to generate the list. So I would say about the first week in July. As soon as we get the most updated list, it will be sent to the division governors. Next question. Yes, Chuck, and then Jensen.
This is again for Tom. Who do we complain to? If we don't complain down, we complain up.
Or maybe
I've always
frame
learned,
it and it's not a complaint.
maybe it's not a complaint, but if there's going to be something negative, what I've learned before in other organizations that I've been involved with, don't complain down. Don't put that burden on your membership, on your area governors, or your division governor. Complain up. Go up. Talk to the people that are up there and get your voice heard.
Should I write my phone number down for everyone?
You know, some people lead by saying, well, Tom said we need to do this. Or Remick said we need to do this. Or Joanne said, and guess what happens? Where does that put you?
Not me.
And I'm watching you, and if you don't respect them, you may think that now all of a sudden you're with me, but I don't respect you.
Jensen?
I was just wondering what the best way is to resolve problems when there's other leaders such as, say, club presidents or area governors or such, like whoever's you're dealing with the most. And they constantly are objecting to your idea or don't really seem open to finding solutions and are more just about what they want or what they think is better.
Who would like to respond?
Yeah.
It's a two-pronged.
It's a two-pronged thing. Mike tells me I'll look forward to whatever he says. I think the first thing is to expect that there will be problems because we're all different people and we all have different styles. And when you look at somebody, find something to like about them. You may not agree with them, but when you're coming from a place of wanting to get along, it makes everything a lot easier. And assuming that they're doing the best they can and they just don't understand something, if you listen to them first, they may be more willing to listen to what you have to say first. And you may discover something about have you ever had those arguments when you're on the same page? You're going the same way and you're fighting like crazy and you don't even know it. You're just using different, you're using different words. So assume the best, first of all, and assume that there will be problems. And that's what you're going to learn to deal with this year. And that's enough.
Can I just thank Joy, I figured she would answer the question. Now I'm going to answer the question that wasn't asked but will come up. And that is, I have a club and the members of that club are fighting. This person's done a terrible thing. This person's whatever. Please, as area governors, division governors, and anyone else, do not get in the middle of that mix. You cannot win. Toastmasters International has whole teams of people specially designed for solving that sort of chaos. Extract yourself out of it as quickly as you can. Recommend they go to Toastmasters International if necessary. Talk to Remick, but do not put yourself in the middle of that. I guarantee you'll get blood on you and it won't be theirs.
The rule is the district does not get involved in club business. And guess who you are? You are the district. So we don't do that. The other thing to know is every club you go into is very different. Although they have the manual speaking, the evaluation. Every club has its own culture. It's very unique. And that's the key word, culture. And when you go in trying to buck or change their culture, because we don't do it that way at my club, that's the biggest mistake you can make, is go in and say, well, we don't do it that way. Well, so what? The thing is, there's a culture in that club that you need to know and find out and help to motivate it and change it if you want to. You need to first go in and find out who are the leaders in that club. Who's the official leader, president maybe, but who's the unofficial leader? Quite often it's not the president, it's someone else. And that, if you want to affect a change in an organization, first know that there's a culture, respect that culture, and then go in and bring the Toastmasters program. But it has to be their buy-in, it has to be their buy-in. And there are ways of doing it, but it starts with relationship building, treating people with respect, and they're not being afraid to share what you think or you feel, but there's a way to do it.
And this is why it's important when we go to, visit clubs. It's not about my club, not about how my club handles things. It's about our areas. And our areas, clubs, and even each division has very different personality. And Margaret has something to add?
I was going to say, anytime you have a problem in your club, that's your or the clubs you're working with, that's your opportunity for growth, right? If you can solve all those problems, you haven't grown there. So as soon as you come against the wall, you know, okay, what do I need to learn from this? What does it mean? How can I integrate it? And how can I share this with others? So if you look at those 4 steps, it's an opportunity for growing. Joe has something back there.
Yeah, my question is, if the club president or members of the club executive decides they don't like the area governor and choose to contact the division governor directly, how should the division governor react to that? And second part is, what's the ongoing support for division governor from the district team? I have the answer if you're struggling. As Division 8 governor, it happened to me constantly where club executive members would want to bypass their area governor, and there's some previous area governors that were with me on that division team, and they would contact me to want their problem solved. But the reality is that the division governor should never step on the toes of the area governor. So anytime a club executive member would contact me as division governor, I asked them to please take a leadership role and communicate with the area governor. And then talk to the area governor too, and be the person who makes and bridge the gap and make these two communicate. You know, you're a president of a club, you've taken a leadership role, you're an area governor, you've taken a leadership role, learn to communicate and work out whatever the problem is. And secondly, what I was trying to get to is earlier I heard talks about the division team talking with the trio, and I think there's a monthly call between the division governors. I don't know if the division governors know that yet, but I just hope maybe somebody would bring that up.
Yes, that would be me, and thanks for reminding me. It's on my list, and I'll come back to that. Now, I know we have a question here, and I just want to go back to add on in terms of people like having disagreements or different opinions. You know what? We're Toastmasters. What we're good at? Talking. It makes us very easy to express our opinion. And we are in a community where we aren't shy to express ourselves. Sometimes it makes it challenging sometimes. And in terms of building relationship, and you know, we can always go back to our common ground. We have different opinions because we are often very passionate about Toastmasters. And that is our common ground because we're here to learn. And also, you know, when we learn to speak, we can also learn to listen more. You know, I always go back to the saying, there is a good reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, because we are supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. So sometimes when we get into heated debate, maybe it's to step back and listen to each other more. Does not mean, you know, we have to totally buy in or agree with someone else, but, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, take a minute to chill and listen.
I just wanted to add, there are always issues between people. The minute you get a second person in the room, there's an issue. That's why we have politics. You know, we all kind of want to make Toastmasters work, but we're not really sure exactly how we want to do it. But the key is sometimes the area governor may be the problem. Sometimes you need to go around that person. But this is about situational leadership, because you can't apply a blanket rule across everything. But if you have area council meetings, if you follow this prescription that we're laying out for you, it simply will make it better. There's always going to be a disagreement. We should try to, but the answer I've found, if we disagree, is usually in the middle. There's some balance there. It's not all you and it's not all me. So there's always a compromise position that we can come up with without, and this is the one thing I want to add that I didn't say. Toastmasters International, we are a not-for-profit organization that focuses on education, leadership training. That's what we do. We don't do nothing else. Nothing else. We have a not-for-profit status that we have to maintain. And a lot of times the issues that come up are about those things, and that's when it's pretty clear what we need to do. If you know the rules, kind of know what we're supposed to be doing, sometimes that will eliminate some of these disagreements. It's not my area, it's not my club. Sometimes it's the president who thinks it's his club, or the area governor who thinks it's my area. We all need to take a step back and put my ego by the door, because anytime we're fighting, it's about ego. We're not putting the membership first, and that's how I make decisions. I try to make it in terms of, well, what's best for the membership. All of the members, and sometimes, you know, I make a decision here and it always affects someone else. It's about making unpopular decisions. But we can find a compromise position if we talk. But some things are not to be compromised. If it is about the Toastmaster guidelines and policy, that's clear and strict. That's what we are.
And we have a question here.
Yeah,